Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. Today I have 5 key issue 9.8 comics rising in value. And yeah, these ones have trended up quite nicely over time, but are they still good buys right now? It's kind of what we'll talk about in the video. Okay, so first one up, it's a Batman Harley Quinn in a 9.8. Origin and first appearance of Harley Quinn in DC continuity on this one. And really surprised by some of the prices I've saw in the last few months on this one. Certainly compared to just like 6 months or so ago, this one has absolutely sort of added another level in price and is rising in value, certainly. A recent price that I saw, $934.99. Yeah, I feel like, just about 6 months ago, this one was selling right around $600. I think, maybe you got lucky, you'd get it even closer to kind of $550. But to see a $934.99, another one I saw sell probably was around $850. It was a buy it now or best offer. That was basically for $1,000 or best offer. So this one absolutely adding another leg in price. Let's have a look on the census. 1,105 9.8s in a blue label for Batman Harley Quinn. 45.7% is the 9.8 ratio. So I've also noticed the Batman Adventures Mad Love is also kind of adding a few more dollars as well. Basically at kind of the same time as this one. I saw a recent auction on that one go for about $750, and that one for a really long time was right around $400. That's where I had purchased my Batman Adventures Mad Love. It was a little over $400 like about a year ago or so, maybe a little bit less than a year ago. So that one from $400 to $750. This one from kind of $550 to now $934, one going for. I think that is maybe a little bit of an overpay, $934.99. I think right around $850. This one's still probably worth it to get in there. Yeah, I think, definitely if you're a Harley Quinn fan, origin and first appearance in this issue. And, the Alex Ross cover is just like a modern classic cover, basically. Just, you almost just want this one for the cover. But you know what? If I kind of had to choose between this one and a Batman Adventures Mad Love, I'd probably go the Mad Love route because 45.7%, the 9.8 ratio. The Mad Love is like 16%, I believe. The lower the better. It's way more tougher in a 9.8, and there's only about 300 9.8s in a blue label on a Mad Love. So that one is a kind of a better 9.8 collector item in my opinion, and it's a little bit cheaper. So I'd absolutely kind of prefer that one around $750 rather than this one at like $934.99. But maybe around $850. This one's probably going to be making sense for most Harley Quinn fans out there with the big origin and first appearance with a great cover. So yeah, Batman Harley Quinn rising in value. I think you could still think about getting in there, kind of near the lower end of the value, around $850 if you're a big Harley Quinn fan. All right, next one is Something is Killing the Children, #1, in a first print. Yeah, this one, it was funny. I'm kind of looking over my notes from past pricing videos from about a year ago, and there were a couple of these. One had sold for like $310, and another for $200, and I think it was $80 or something like that. So absolutely, this one is rising in value. Just right from the beginning, a big cult of fans on this one. Very popular during New Comic Book Day, and usually I kind of pass on most of the new comic books, so I never really got into Something is Killing the Children yet, but maybe I should. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people that really love this one. So rising in value, some prices in a 9.8 in the first print. Saw one sell for $882 and $766. Both of these were on eBay in the last month or so. So wow, yeah, from $300 to kind of $800 and something. This is one I've pretty much been wrong about. I know people have sort of brought this one to my attention as one that's kind of rising in value and a decent kind of indie comic book investment. Yeah, I think they're right. I think they judged it right. This one was so popular. There might be a little bit of a chance that it cools down here unless there's really like some, Erica Slaughter movie or show or Something's Killing the Children kind of show or something like that. Because it's not too tough on the census. We'll have a look. 1,562 9.8s in a blue label. That's quite a bit. 74.5%, the 9.8 ratio. So of all graded copies, pretty much 3 out of 4 are 9.8s. It's not that tough of a 9.8. And there's quite a lot out there, 1,562. So, I think this one's come a long way. I've absolutely been wrong on it. But I struggle to kind of see, like, it's not a very tough 9.8. How is it going to get to, like, $1,000 with a 74.5% 9.8 ratio? And there's 1,500 of them in a blue label. So maybe this one just cools down a little bit, but around that sort of 500 to 600 level, like say they're going 766 now, they cool down to like 550, 600. I think that would be a great entry point. Definitely if you're a, Something is Killing the Children fan, that would be, I think, the way to play this one. But, I've been wrong on this one so far, so I might be wrong again. Maybe this one kind of sails over 1,000 and you just want to get in there right now. Around 766 and 882 were the last two prices in a first print 9.8 for Something is Killing the Children, number 1. Next one's a really cool one that was just so dirt cheap back in the day, and I was really close to pulling the trigger on it. Never did. Now they're definitely starting to heat up and rise in price. An Incredible Hulk 106. This is when World War Hulk begins. So a couple of recent prices on this one, right in the sort of 125 to 150 area. And this was absolutely one like a year and a half ago. It kind of stood out to me as a pretty cool, Hulk key issue that was really like $50. I think you even waited for an auction on this one. Sometimes you get it, under 50 possibly back then. Now there's like a World War Hulk show or movie that's possibly going to be coming out in the MCU in the next year or two. So this one's pretty much doubled in value. Yeah, it was just one of those dirt cheap Hulk books in a 9.8 that kind of caught my eye back in the day. Now they're about 125 to 150. Still might be worth it to kind of get in there. This one, have a look on the census, 153 9.8s. So I would expect a ton of these to become graded over the next, year, let's just say, leading into that World War Hulk movie or show or whatever it is. I'm not too sure what it is. But because there's only one of 153, that's not too many. And I think there's going to be a bigger demand when the World War Hulk show or movie comes out. 89.5% the 9.8 ratio. So the 9.8, it's not a very tough 9.8, and you can kind of understand why it was like $50 before anyone really knew about a World War Hulk MCU content. So I think, though, maybe around kind of 100, 125 if you can swing that in the next kind of 6 months, and then maybe this one kind of heats up going into World War Hulk. That could be a pretty decent strategy on an Incredible Hulk 106. And kind of just a cover to enjoy. I got the t-shirt, the Hulk t-shirt, where it's pretty much this World War Hulk cover on the t-shirt. So, pretty cool cover. And still kind of affordable, and maybe there's still some potential for this one. And on Hulk 106, World War Hulk begins. The World War Hulk storyline begins on Incredible Hulk 106. Okay, next one is absolutely one that's rising in value. A Web of SpiderMan number 118. The first Scarlet Spider, or the first solo clone story this one goes down as. Great cover, though, on this one as well. I've definitely come around on this one. This was one I didn't really like too much because in the 90s I collected comics, but I never really got into the Scarlet Spider too much, and kind of bugged me that like there was a Spider-Man clone and it wasn't Peter Parker. It was like Ben Reilly as Spider-Man during this time, so I wasn't too big into, Scarlet Spider. But nowadays, this one is a really tough one on the census, actually, or a pretty tough one, like definitely in the class of like a tougher 9.8 in 1990s comics, and absolutely rising in price. Yeah, a couple prices here. Saw one sell on Comic Link. We documented this one on a recent video, $550. Then a recent one on eBay in a 9.8 white pages went for $589.99. And this was one, about a year ago, just maybe a little bit before the hot comic book market started really heating up. This was like $250, $275, maybe into the 300s if you really wanted it. So it's absolutely rising in value. Mentioned it's a great 9.8, 200 9.8s in a blue label, a 1 of 200. That's pretty fantastic. And 17.5% is the 9.8 ratio. That's phenomenal. That's pretty phenomenal for, like, this one's a key issue, but it's not super heavily graded. I would imagine if there were any kind of Scarlet Spider type of, content coming out in pop culture, a ton of these would become graded, and then the 9.8 ratio would even get lower because it's like a medium type of heavily graded type of book. There's only 200 in a 9.8, but 17.5% of all graded copies are 9.8s. That's phenomenal. Yeah, that's pretty low for a 1990s comic book. A lot of times you see them in like 30, 40%. So only 17.5% of all graded copies are 9.8. So this is a tough 9.8. It's trending up in price. And there's some potential there with the Scarlet Spider. I know leading into like the Across the Spider-Verse movies, maybe he gets in there, but I would say that's a speculation. This is just more great cover, first appearance, tough 9.8. Like, it's just making sense regardless of any kind of, movie speculation or anything like that. So, yeah, Web of SpiderMan, 118, 9.8, hopefully closer to like $550 is like an absolute price target to aim for on that. That one just feels undervalued, especially when I looked on the census, realized it's like a great 9.8 on the census. Okay, last one. Comic books rising in value. Incredible Hulk 271. This is pretty much a no-brainer. Incredible Hulk key issue to consider. First comic book appearance of Rocket Raccoon. Great cover too. Kind of got the I love the kind of what is it? Speech bubbles on the cover here. It's like, what, Hulk has to share his 20th anniversary issue with puny talking animal? And he's like, you got it, J. Jaws. Move over and make way for Rocket Raccoon. So a pretty great cover, I think. Certainly one I've absolutely grown to love over time. Was lucky enough to get the newsstand edition. This was probably like right as the COVID hot comic book market was really starting to heat up, but things didn't really heat up yet. I grabbed the newsstand edition in Canada for $550. So if you have a look for recent prices, a Hulk 271 9.8 in a direct edition, $1,158. And my $550 was a pretty screaming deal. I would say the direct editions during that time were probably about $500 to $550. So I remember I kind of saw one in Canada and kind of threw up a really good offer to the seller, and they ended up accepting at $550. So I think I got a good deal on this one. A direct edition now $1,158. Saw a newsstand edition $1,800 sell for. So yeah, just in kind of a year and a half or so since I've owned this one, from $550 up to $1,800 in a newsstand. On the census, 399 9.8s in a blue label, a 1 of 399, and 11.5%, the 9.8 ratio. So of all graded copies, 11.5% are 9.8s. That's very solid for kind of a book of this age. Not amazing, but just super solid. A 1 of 399 for first comic book appearance of Rocket Raccoon. One you'd absolutely want as a Guardians of the Galaxy fan, and you know I love Guardians of the Galaxy, so one I definitely wanted. That's rising in price, and it's a no-brainer. Yeah, it's just one of those big classic key issues that seems to be trending up in price. You know, you get a big first appearance that's in pop culture, and yeah, just all signs signaling like you get Hulk 271 in a direct edition around $1,150. That one selling $1,158. I think that's an absolute price target to aim for. Yeah, for a Hulk 271. All right, team. Yeah, just a short list here of some 9.8s that are rising in value. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. If you're liking my videos, please subscribe and hit that bell, and I'll keep you updated on future content.